Hello guys, Andy from Next Gen Base here, and welcome to another NGB Retro in which the old man plays the old games. I'm not going to be doing much playing today though, because we are doing an unboxing and setup. It is finally time to talk about another one of our Retro Mini computer systems that we're looking at. And if you hadn't guessed, yes, it is this, the A500 Mini. I'm so excited about this. So I grew up in the 90s, and the A500 was basically my first sort of real proper 16-bit gaming system. I played a ZX Spectrum before that, which is kind of my entry system, but the A500 was really where I cut my teeth on some games. So there we are. This is the box with the system. I picked this up from Amazon during Prime days, not too long after I picked up the C64 that you've previously seen on the channel. This is something I've been eyeing up for quite some time. Look at those games. Look at those games. We're going to be taking a look at some more of those in detail in the future. We're going to do a whole bunch of videos taking a look at these. But for now, let's get this box cracked open, see what's inside, get the system set up, and take a look. And here it is, the A500 Mini from Retro Games Ltd. So yeah, what a lovely looking thing. This definitely is more a part of my youth than the C64 Mini was. That's not to say that either is more important in the grand scheme of things, but this is one that resonates with me. I owned an Amiga 500 when I was a kid. Got one in, I think, probably about 1990. We got the Screen Gems pack, which came packaged in with Shadow of the Beast 2, Days of Thunder, Nightbreed, and Back to the Future 2, all of which, well, with the exception of Shadow of the Beast 2, were fairly terrible games. Shadow of the Beast 2 didn't exactly play wonderfully, but it was a absolutely gorgeous game to look at. And also, of course, it came in Deluxe Paint 2, which was kind of the standard painting application for the Amiga back in the day. And I don't think this does have Deluxe Paint 2 on it, which is a real shame. But obviously, 25 games on there. And it comes with a controller and a mouse. The controller is actually designed to look like Commodore's CD32 controller. So not your typical Amiga controller, which would have been a joystick very similar to the one that we were looking at with the C64 Mini. Anyway, let's crack this bad boy open and take a look at what's inside. So I think this actually looks very similar to like a Nintendo Switch box, the kind of box that you'd buy a Nintendo Switch in. There's kind of a list of all the different games on the back. I'm pretty sure California Games was on the C64 as well. But there's some cracking games on here that I am so looking forward to playing. Chaos Engine, Speedball 2, I think somewhere. Yeah, there's Speedball 2, Simon the Sorcerer, Worms, Zool, Another World, which I think has recently been ported to other things. Cadaver, that was a game that I never actually had when I was on my PC, my Amiga. Project X, loved that game. Titus the Fox, again, another game I really wanted to have. Quack, a game that I remember, but I never really played. Kickoff 2, maybe get Ben onto that, because it is a footy game. And Battle Chess was a cracker. Stunt Car Racer, I didn't realise that was on it. Do like Stunt Car Racer, although I was absolutely terrible at it. And of course Alien Breed is on there to round out some of the Team 17 games that are included. So let's crack it open and let's see what we have. And first off, oh, there she is. Look at that. Look at that. How lovely is that? Let's pop the top off there and get that out. Again, as with the C64 Mini, keys aren't usable, but look at that. That's my youth. That's my youth there. Non-working floppy drive, which is a shame. I've seen some suggestions it would have been good to have had like there's been an SD card slot or something, but what have we got on the back? We've got a USB-C port for power, we've got a HDMI port, and we've got 3 USB ports, which is good because I believe we've obviously got the 2 controllers in and a spare port then for plugging in a USB stick, which we will need. Obviously, as with the C64 Mini, it's worth updating the firmware, but you'll also be wanting to download a tool called WHD Load, which we will go into in a later video, or later in this video actually, in fact. A little quick start guide there on how to get things set up and working, which, you know, I'd like to think it should be fairly obvious, but obviously you've got some information on some shortcuts from the gamepad there. Oh, let's put that down there. Let's take that tray out. And here we go. We're getting into the goodies in there. We got the mouse. Let's get that open. Now, I always remember the mouse that came with the Amiga. It was the first mouse I'd ever used, for obvious reasons, because I didn't have a PC at the time, but we got an HDMI cable there. Lovely Amiga beige colour. And there is the Amiga mouse. Let's take the wrapper off that. That is very similar to the Commodore mouse of old, but I think it does have a slightly smaller form factor. It was quite a chunky beast, the old Commodore mouse, and obviously it doesn't have a roller ball. It is an optical mouse. One of the things I remember from my old Amiga was having to quite frequently clean the roller ball on my mouse, because those things picked up all sorts of gunk and lint off your desk. And here's the controller. It's not a joystick controller, although I do believe the joystick from the C64 Mini works on this. It is, we've got another cable there. That's our power USB cable, our USB-C power cable. Launch it ferociously on the floor there. And here is the Amiga controller, which, like I say, is, it's got that kind of snazzy look, but it is based off the CD32 controller, and that is a sturdy feeling controller. I like that. Buttons are nice and chunky. They're nice. They're solid plastic, not like rubberized like a lot of controllers of this kind of form factor. But yeah, so we've got the console, we've got the mouse and the controller. That's it. Box is empty. Let's get this set up, updated, and take a look at some games. Okay, so here we are. We've got the Amiga set up. We're on the start menu. Here I've got it all updated. I've got my USB stick plugged into it, with a bunch of stuff on it that we'll go into in a minute. Obviously, here's my controller all plugged in and ready to go. Here's my mouse. Not many games use the mouse on the console itself, but it does work. And it does work as a PC mouse as well. So it's obviously optical, so you can plug it into your PC or Mac. But yeah, look at these games. Look at all of them. Alien Breed 3D. I never played Alien Breed 3D. I'd never had an Amiga 1200. I had an Amiga 500, which, obviously the lesser powered older system. Alien Breed, Another World. Kieran loves Another World. Ask Kieran about Another World. That was one of his favourite games. It wasn't. Arcade Pool, which I believe we need the mouse for. Yeah, you've got the little mouse icon, although it looks like it's got controller support as well. ATR, some lovely Team 17 games on here. There's a lot of Team 17 titles. Battle Chess, big fan of Battle Chess. Cadaver was one of those games I always wanted to play. I think I had a demo on a cover disc. California Games on the C64 as well, which is an interesting one. Chaos Engine, love the Chaos Engine. Dragon's Breath, I played a lot of Dragon's Breath when I was younger, but I probably couldn't tell you much about it now, other than it's an RPG where you grow dragons from eggs. That's about as much as I remember. F-16 Combat Pilot, wasn't a big fan of flight sims like that. Kickoff 2, again, not a big football fan. I did play a bit of Sensible Soccer back in the days on my PC. Lost Patrol I remember, but I don't think I've ever played. Paradroid 90, similar, don't think I ever played that. Pinball Dreams, love Pinball Dreams, good game. Me and my sister used to play a lot of that on our Amiga. Project X, fantastic game, good side-scrolling shoot 'em up. Quack, again, one of those games I never really played, but it always looked like a really nice little arcade game, so I might well give that a good go in one of our future videos. Sentinel, I think I played that. Possibly. Simon the Sorcerer, big fan of that, although I did play it on the PC, not the Amiga. Speedball 2, whiled away plenty of days playing Speedball 2 with my friends. Huge fan of Speedball 2. Stunt Car Racer was one of those games that I really enjoyed playing, but never really was very good at. Supercars 2, again, I don't think I played too much of that, but I do believe it was one of the games that we put on for sort of some couch multiplayer, my friends and I. Titus the Fox, again, I think I had a demo of that, but never the full game. We'll come back to this icon in a minute. Worms, absolute classic, obviously, played loads of that with my friends back in the day. Yeah, big multiplayer favourite that is. And Zool, yeah, again, played a lot of Zool back in the day. Some of these games I've probably not touched in 25 plus years, potentially, if not more, maybe 30 odd years. I've probably never played any of these games. It's crazy to think that, it's how old some of these are, but, some of them still look fresh. Another World still looks great when you look at it visually. I played that actually off GOG a couple of years ago on my PC, and it still looks like a cracking game. In fact, I think there was a version that dropped on PlayStation Plus, which I started playing on my PlayStation Vita as well a few years back, that was still great. And you look at some of the nice bold sprites on some of these games, like ATR with its chunky visuals, and they still look great games. Cadaver, it's got that sort of typical kind of slightly greyish, brownish style that a lot of those RPGs had in those days, but it still looks cracking to look at like that. But we're going to play through some of these games. One of the things I might do, and I'm thinking about this, is I might actually do a Let's Play on Cadaver, because it's one of those RPGs that I never actually really played properly. Like I say, I think I had a demo of the first couple of areas, yeah. The other thing that we have got on here is the USB stick. Now, obviously, I said I updated the firmware on the A500 Mini. As with the C64, you go onto the Retro Games Ltd website, you grab a file, you pop it on your USB stick, you pop your USB stick in the Amiga. It has to be formatted to FAT32. Initially, my Amiga wouldn't read this because I hadn't formatted it to FAT32, so popped it back in my Mac, formatted it all up, and popped the file on it, and it worked perfectly. And you go into, I believe it was the options menu, I think it was system options, or one of the two, advanced options maybe, system information I think it was, yes, and there was then an option in there to apply the firmware, which is cool. So obviously in the options you've got a bunch of different things. You've got various display options. You can fit to screen, fixed size, moderate zoom. You can smooth the image. You can enable a CRT effect, which I have actually got turned on. You don't want image smoothing. That looks horrible. System options. You can adjust the mouse sensitivity, the volume of the music from the menu. You can have or mimic Amiga behavior. Now, this is something that I really enjoy, is when games are loading, you actually get the little loading LED flash on the front of the machine, like it would do on the Amiga when it was reading off the disc. Really love that. You can tell I'm very excited by this. So 50Hz output obviously for PAL systems, 60Hz output if your television can't support a 50Hz frame rate. Use the screen edges if your television can display a full 720p image without cropping. Now, I'm watching this on a monitor at the minute. I've got this running through my Benki monitor in my office, which displays it perfectly. It's perfect 720p. Obviously you've got system information, expert mode. I can't remember. See, I think this is like something we're going to get into in a minute, is if it is in the USB stick. So that's some of the menu options that you've got on there. Some clattering going on outside, so apologies if that's coming through on the audio. So this is the USB stick menu. Now you'll see there's a bunch of other games in here. The A500 is something else that you need to download off the Retro Games Ltd website, and it is WHD Load, which is mentioned on the back of the box just there. Now, the idea with WHD Load is that you can pop that on a USB stick, put that in your A500 Mini and you can load in WHD LHA images, which are I don't know, workbench hard drive? Is that what WHD stands for? Sound out in the comments if you know what WHD stands for. So yeah, so the A500 folder is WHD load and WHD boot, there we go. And that enables you to go back to load games off a USB stick in that LHA format. There has been an update recently to in the last firmware to enable disk images to be loaded as well. So anything with like a disk icon is a disk image, a ADF, Amiga disk format, presumably, not the magazine Amiga format. It will actually load in disk images, and there is ways of supporting multiple images as well. For example, if we go to Xenon 2, you'll see that it's 2 discs. Now you can create a playlist, and I'll probably go into a bit more detail again in a video in the future about that, but if you want to know how to do it now, go and have a look at the Retro Games Ltd website. It tells you how to create a playlist to boot multiple disc games, or you can just select a disc and then you can push the R button on the controller to add a second disc to a stack, and then when you're playing the game you can just push the home button, I think hold home and R, and it swaps between the discs whenever you need to insert another disc in. So there's ways of kind of handling multi-disc games in the system. I will say that the buttons to kind of move around the interface aren't exactly intuitive, because you use Y to move back through the folder structures and B takes you back to the menu. But it works, and it works to load all the different games in. I've been playing around with this between filming, and it's lovely. I really like it. I'm going to do some videos on different games, on the games that come pre-installed with it, and some of the games that I loved growing up as a kid we're going to take a look at. And like I say, we're probably going to do like a full playthrough of something, or a attempted full playthrough, because these games were hard. And probably I'm going to do Cadaver on that front. But there we go. I've rambled more than enough now about this. You could probably tell this is a big love of mine. It's a big part of my growing up, of my formative years playing video games, and that is the A500 Mini by Retro Games Ltd. Big fan of this device. Love it lots. Can't wait to show it to the rest of the guys on the channel. And if you want to see more videos like this on the A500 Mini, do get subscribed to the channel, because there will be more. I will be recording more after I finish this session here. And if you've enjoyed this video, drop us a like, drop us a comment, talk to us about your favourite Amiga games if you have any that you used to play. And yeah, do a share if you think your friends will like it. Hopefully they will. And we will see you next time on Next Gen Base. Bye for now.